I'm so excited about the art of getting in the hot seat. Okay, so one of the things I'd really love to get better at is step 4.
Step 1 is ask. Contrast helps you. Step 2 is source answers. Step 3 is you get in the receiving mode. Step 4 is you're really good at being in the receiving mode. Funny that step 4 is just being good at step 3, but step 4 is just mastery of it. You care about feeling good, and you're playing the satisfaction game. And then step 5 is really our favorite step. That's when you are back in a contrasting moment and you're still happy. The contrast isn't setting you off your game. You see it for what it is, the valuable thing that it is. Yeah.
Okay, so then maybe it's more 4 to 5. So I've gotten fairly good at the first few steps a few days of the week. So there's 7 days a week, and
don't pat yourself on the back too much. Step 1, that's a no-brainer. You can't get out of step 1. Life just happens and you launch rockets whether you want to or not. Step 2, we're doing. So the first 2 steps you get no credit whatsoever for. That's the universe, that's life coming at you. Step 3 is the first thing you got to do. And you know what it is? Be happy. We know it's a challenge. Feel good. And then you know what step 4 is? Like feeling good. That's all. Like it so much that you're willing to do it. Like it so much that you're willing to be aware. Like it so much that you're willing to catch it in the early subtle stages. Like it so much that you're willing to know when you are and know when you aren't. And you know, you're very smart that you want to weave 4 and 5 together, because step 5, which is being in step 1 and not being upset about it, that's really because you've mastered step 4, because you like so much feeling good, you're not willing to beat up on yourself anymore. So life came at you and gave you more contrast. Does that make you bad? No, that makes you fulfilling your reason for being. You didn't say, I'll go forth and I'll rid the world of contrast, or I'll go forth and I'll be oblivious to contrast. You said, I'll go forth and I'll accept contrast as my friend. The other morning, Esther woke up. We keep telling you, we wake her up. We feel happy about her life, so happy about her life that she goes, and then she looks at her clock and thinks, what the hell? It's still dark outside. Why am I awake? It's us. And the thought that's in her mind is she sees the infinity sign or the eternity sign. Call it whatever you want. So we said to her, because it was on its side, look at it and see one end of it is contrast and the other end of it is desire, or belief and desire, in other words, and see how it all fits together, and see how eternity is made up of knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want, the contrast launching the desires, the question brings the answer and the problem brings the solution, how it all fits together. Make peace, feel appreciation for all of this contrast. So when new contrast shows itself to you because you want expansion, then thank the contrast that's shown itself to you, because as it shows you what you don't want, it shows you what you do want. You cannot be the eternal being that you are without all of that. Yes? And so doesn't it make you want to make peace with it? And there's some rascal upsets you and you think, that was rude and unnecessary. I don't like being upset. Or you could think, oh, you've just helped me launch another desire, another clarifying aspect to my expansion, which I must have because of all the things that I am. Eternal is the most significant. And without something that causes me to ask, then I would cease to be. And since I cannot cease to be, then thank you for the direction along the way. Thank you. Thank you for the focus. For the focus that I get to now define. Thank you for the question or the problem that is now causing me to focus in the direction of the answer or the solution. Thank you for producing more impetus for my life, which I love. That's step 5. Yahoo! Somebody to hate. for just a minute until I realize that's not who I am. So I got to work this out because I hate you because of the way you're behaving. When I look at you, I feel hatred because of who you're being. And I also feel disembodied from who I really am. I also feel complete disconnection from the love that is me. So now I got some things to think about. My hatred of you or the true love that is me, which means I either got to get my attention off of you or I got to find some things about you that I can appreciate. And as you find things to appreciate about the most egregious of beings, you come into true ownership of who you are. And the universe expands because you and they have helped you to focus into what is really wanted, you say. So?
Can you help me with a little more specifics on exactly that?
Yes.
Okay, so I work out of the home 5 days a week, and that is where I'm able to flow fairly well. Then the other 2 days of the week I'm home. I have 2 beautiful children, and my elder son is on the severe end of the autism spectrum. So I already believe that we chose each other to expand and all of that, and I see the perfection in the situation. I know that this is for my benefit.
When you step back far enough, you always see it. When you get up close to it, sometimes you forget.
Yes. So being up close, and every Monday through Thursday, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's Friday, and I'm going to master this. And
you just said to us that step 4 is what you're after. And so isn't it logical that you would live in a situation where the mastery of step 4 is being helped along by day-to-day experience?
Okay, so okay, so I'm in this situation where there's very intense contrast after contrast after contrast, like all day long. And it's almost like I feel like I don't even have the control anymore.
Let us explain something to you. You're going to like this because we have not said this before. So you're causing the universe to expand here with the clarity and intensity of this question. So just relax and let's take this new step forward together. So all things are expanding. We talked about that. And the intensity of what you're living is causing a lot of desire. And the difference, we've already clarified, between you and your human perspective and your inner being in its spiritual, vibrational, non-physical beingness. The only difference between you is that your inner being is disciplined is not the right word, but it's the closest one Esther can find. It's really practiced, kind of like the step 4 that you're reaching for, in holding the vibration of love and well-being regardless of what is being observed. So the way that you and your inner being work so well together, each of you, is that you came where you can freak out, and in your freaking out launch new desires, and your inner being watches you come and freak out but never freaks out and never loses connection with source. Does that make sense to you? So there's always this steady vibration of resources and of answers to questions and solutions to problems that is available to you. So you're discovering through what you call contrast, improvements, and your inner being is taking the improvement and becoming the improvement and experiencing the positive evolution, which is what this well-being and goodness of the universe really is all about as a result of what you're living. Now, you might say, well, I don't like so much being the guinea pig that's out here in the trenches that's throwing the good stuff your way, inner being. And in a way, we can see why it might feel that way to you. But as you reach into these new places, you ask for new things, and your inner being always is the vibrational equivalent of what you've asked for. We're getting to something really important here. Your inner being sees the contrast, but doesn't have the knee-jerk reaction to it, because your inner being is stable in its knowledge of goodness and well-being. Your inner being knows that there's no risk and knows that the well-being is dominant. And so it doesn't matter what upheaval is happening on the planet. You have to ask sometimes. Humans do ask this question on a pretty regular basis. If there is a source energy, or what we as man want to call God, then why does God allow all of this chaos and all of this suffering? Why is that even allowed? Why are we allowed to have suffering? And the answer is because you have free will in order to produce new desire. It's all part of the process. And because you have guidance that will always lead you into the solution that the problem has helped you point toward. Did that make some sense to you? So the difference between your inner being and you is that your inner being always holds steady to the solution, to the love, to the answer to the question, no matter what you are doing. That's where your inner being is. So when your desire is as you just told us it was, when your desire is to feel the feeling of alignment more than it is to fix any problem, then you will see the problems as your inner being sees the problems, and instead of looking like problems, they will look like opportunities. Instead of suffering within them, you will revel within them. Are you following us at all? It's like Esther broke everything on an etagere. She was dusting, and one shelf got loose, and it broke the next and the next and the next, and all the treasures that they'd gathered for the first 10 years of their life together were all in a crumbled pile of broken glass. And Jerry, when he heard the crash, came running. He said, "Oh, good, something to want." He saw no problem with a crumpled pile of glass, because it just meant there were a lot of empty shelves that could be filled with more treasures. And the fun of finding them is so delicious, you see. Helpful?
Yes. And also today's his birthday, so thank you.
Pretty good.